As Nigeria and other countries of the world await the release of an approved COVID-19 vaccine, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo makes case for equitable and affordable distribution to countries. With the resumption of commercial flights at the Lagos International Airport, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 renews emphasis on the need for both inbound and outbound passengers to adhere to all protocols. An unjust delegation of National Union of Road Transport Workers monitoring compliance of members with COVID-19 protocols in parks. These and more on Panorama from Just Network Center. I am Zenret Dingmun. To effectively curtail the spread of the coronavirus disease across the globe, the deployment of the COVID-19 vaccine should be done in an equitable and affordable manner rather than on the basis of the highest bidder. This was the position of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the virtual meeting 2020 Euro-Africa Forum theme towards realistic Euro-Africa partnership during and beyond the COVID-19 era. Jide Onifade reports.
It's a sign of the times that this...
A global crisis calls for global partnerships, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says, and explaining that if COVID-19 exists in any part of the world, it remains a significant threat to every part of the world.
To this initiative,
as the Vice President observes, Europe should work closely with Africa to ensure that when a vaccine is finally deployed, it should be made available at an affordable and an accessible manner. Vice President Osinbajo also speaks about Nigeria's efforts in mitigating the impact of the COVID-19 on the economy, noting that Nigeria's priority is to ward off a deep recession, while welcoming the debt servicing support initiative of the G20, which he says will no doubt bring some relief to relevant African countries. The Vice President, however, observes that it remains inadequate because it does not address the problem of commercial debt service obligations, and therefore calls on the European Union to lend its weight to this initiative, which he describes as very important for Africa.
There are, of course, many other matters on which Africa and the EU must continue to collaborate, and to which we must use the opportunity of this summit to move ahead on. Investment and trade, human capital development, and the proper management of migration are areas in which our partnerships should continue to be built. I'm confident that we will continue to deepen such relationships, which must continue to be anchored on enabling both regions to attain their social and economic objectives in an increasingly environmentally friendly and digital world.
The Euro-African Forum aims to foster stronger collaboration between Europe and Africa and better promote a shared green and inclusive growth, among other objectives. In the State House, Jide Onifade, Enter News.
Commercial flight operations have resumed at the international wing of Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, after 5 months of closure due to COVID-19 lockdown. Michael Olaleya reports that both inbound and outbound passengers were subjected to rigorous COVID-19 check.
The first commercial flight in more than 5 months arriving from the Middle East. It is a landmark achievement in the fight against COVID-19, but beyond the glamour is the reality that the pandemic has changed the mode of screening at the airports. The drop zone now accommodates less outing, while a makeshift structure has been erected at the entrance to take care of hand washing, temperature checks, luggage disinfection, and physical distancing. The process, which is in stages, gives assurance of safety to passengers while the fight against the virus continues.
The great job they do, the social distance, the mark on ground, the spraying for bags, the temperature checking, all the effort they do is a great effort. Even you cannot see it in all over the world.
I'm happy that everything's coming back to normal, and I feel like everyone should always take precaution, always wear a mask, always, prevent, always use social distancing, prevent contact with others as much as possible, and then life will become normal.
Agencies at the airport are strengthening surveillance in spite of the remarkable measures put in place.
For a start, I think we'll be having about 1,280 passengers daily. And with what we have at MMA, we can conveniently accommodate them. We have 2 fingers, we have this one and the other one. So even if you have 2 flights at the same time, you can conveniently park one on the Echo and the other one at Delta.
The control starts from the disembarkation of the aircraft. We make sure that passengers does not come out in rush. They come out in quantum and observe the signages that is on ground, which we must have seen.
Only 2 airlines operated from the international wing of the airport, a figure which will increase to 7 by Monday next week.
In Lagos, Michael Walale, NT News.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 162 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. The latest figures released bring the total number of confirmed cases to 54,905 infections in the country. A breakdown of the new cases from 13 states indicates that Lagos recorded the highest number for the day with 53 new cases, while Gombe has 21 new cases. Oyo 19, Delta 12, Ondo 11, and Plateau recorded 10 new cases. Others are Ebonyi 9, FCT and Kwara recorded 6 cases each, Kaduna 5, Rivers 3, while Ogun, Anambra and Imo have 2 cases each. The day's tally is completed by Ekiti, recording 1 case in the state. With the latest development, total number of 42,922 cases have been successfully treated and discharged, while 1,054 patients have died. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has handed over 118 trucks of food commodities to Bauchi State government as COVID-19 palliative. Mahmoud Ibn Mohammed reports that the minister also commiserated with the government and people of Bauchi State on the recent flood incident that affected 7 local government areas in the state.
Of the federal government's effort towards cushioning the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on Nigerians, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, handed over tons of maize, millet, and sorghum for distribution to the vulnerable in Bauchi State.
We all know that the outbreak of the pandemic has brought about changes and challenges to our normal ways of living. Most obvious of these is on the vulnerable persons that depend largely on others for their daily survival, and other persons of concern that deserve support in terms of basic needs.
Thank Mr. President, the President of the Republic, President Muhammad Buhari, for finding it fit and worthy to give this kind of palliation to most states or to all the states all over the Federation.
On the recent flood disaster that affected some local government areas in the state, the minister directed the National Emergency Management Agency to take stock of the damages caused by the flood. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Mohammed, NTA News.
The Union of Road Transport Workers is strategizing on an e-tracking system to be used by its members for securing the lives and property of passengers while traveling. The national president of the union, Professor Tajuddin Ibikunle Barua, made this known during an official visit to Jos, the Plateau State capital. Alisa Batukai Andrew reports.
National President's visit to Plateau State is to, among many issues, sensitize members on the importance the union attaches to mitigating the spread of COVID-19 by strict adherence to the protocols. This he did while emphasizing the use of an equipment for sanitizing the vehicle and passengers called steam gun, and stressed the importance of physical distancing. Professor Tajuddin also touched on the union's e-tracking system and ABDA will allow the next of kin of a passenger to have first-hand information on passengers' movement for easy tracking.
The issue of coronavirus, we cannot leave it only federal government, state government only, because we believe that as a national union member, we have a large member of the union across Nigeria, and we're very close to the grassroots. Based on that, we see it's very necessary for us to give our members a lecture how to handle or how to take care of their passenger, who's our customer.
The Plateau State Chairman NURTW, Yashau Mohammed, assured the President that the union will guard against flouting the COVID-19 protocol. In the past few days, Plateau State has been at the epicenter of the COVID-19 spread, which has been of concern to government and other key players in the fight against the spread. In Jos, Alisa Batukai Andrew, NTA News.
Accessing health care for many Nigerians is oftentimes expensive owing to the huge health care bills that accrue in hospitals. In view of this worrying situation, the Contributory Health Management Scheme was introduced in the country at the federal level, with states taking a cue from it. To guarantee quality access to health care on an equitable basis, the Plateau State government established the State Contributory Health Care Management Agency. And with me in the studio to discuss this is the Director General, Plateau State Contributory Health Management Agency, Dr. Jem Chang Fabong. You're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start by you telling us what the working of the agency is.
The agency was created in June of 2019 by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, the Right Honorable Dr. Simon Bakola Long, KSGG, to see through the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals objective of achieving universal health coverage by 2030. And to that extent, we intend to bring to the people promotive, preventive, curative, and rehabilitative healthcare services at a cost that is affordable to all the people on the plateau, irrespective of their socio-economic status.
Okay, so who are the target group and how are they captured under the scheme?
For the purpose of making sure no one is left behind, the agency created 4 platforms through which people can enroll. We have the equity plan, which essentially takes care of the vulnerable groups, and these groups are elderly above 65 years of age, and then we have children under 5 years, pregnant mothers. We also have citizens with some form of physical or mental disabilities, and then we also have orphan and vulnerable children that are duly registered. And because of the peculiarity we have here on the plateau, we also made provisions for people who are internally displaced. And the law that created the agency makes provision for 2% of the consolidated revenue fund of the state and that of the local government to care for the people under the equity plan. And then we also have the formal sector, which have people working under the state government or local government or from the organized private sector, and the token of deductions will be made both at the level of the employer and the employee to serve as premium. And then we also have the informal sector, through which we have community-based organizations, other organizations, National Union of Road Transport Workers, the Tricycle Union of Nigeria, and then we have subgroups and other market women association also, and a premium has been calculated for them to give also as part of their contributions to benefit from the scheme. And then finally, we have citizens who will not opt for any of the groups by default, and then they enter through the private health plan.
Okay. So what are some of the ailments covered under the scheme?
Well, basically all diseases that are contained in the minimum benefit package of health services that have been designed by stakeholders, ranging from malaria, typhoid, tuberculosis, pneumonia, diabetes, hypertension, respiratory tract infections, and common diseases, excluding malignancies, transplant, cosmetic surgery, and the rest. But under the agency, we have a robust minimum benefit package of health service that cover most of the diseases that are common to our people on the plateau.
Okay, so how will this scheme impact on healthcare delivery in the state?
In sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria and Plateau State inclusive, 70% of healthcare services are out of pocket, and that has a massive toll on families, communities, and individuals. So with the creation of this scheme, it serves to reduce to the barest minimum the out-of-pocket expenditure and then improving the socio-economic status of our people. And if we have a healthy population, we can guarantee a more economically viable, and also citizenship, and also the health insurance scheme serves to strengthen healthcare services at nooks and crannies of Plateau State, particularly at the level of the primary healthcare.
Okay. So what final words do you have for the people of Plateau State?
The government of Plateau State have created the biggest safety net that serves to improve the health status of our people. So it's up to our people to also demonstrate their willingness to participate and also buying into this, because it has a massive, massive potential to bring about a bigger health care delivery and generally a healthy population.
Okay. So I've been interacting with Dr. Jemchang Fabong, Director General, Plateau State Contributory Health Care Management Agency. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the program.
Thank you too.
Okay. Panorama continues after this break.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Thanks for staying tuned. Plateau State Governor Simon Bakolalong has expressed confidence that the All Progressives Congress will clinch the forthcoming Southern Senatorial District by-election in the state. Governor Lalong stated this shortly after casting his vote at the APC primary election held at the Shandam Local Government Council Secretariat. Priscilla Grumna reports.
The APC party primaries is holding to produce the party's flag bearer in the September by-elections for the vacant seat created by the death of Senator Ignatius Longjan. Accredited delegates of the party from the southern zone comprising Shandam, Kwanpan, Mikang, Langtan North, Langtan South and Wasi came out to participate in the exercise. Governor Simon Lalong said he was delighted to be part of the process and commended the peaceful and transparent conduct of delegates and party officials, which he said will ensure adequate representation of the zone in the red chamber.
I came in no rancor, nothing, so that's what I'm expecting. This is the new spirit of APC, and everywhere we are moving, we are also monitoring what is happening in other states, so that I wish they will copy from what is happening in Plateau State. I want to commend the party for all the efforts done, especially in respect to accommodating all the aspirants. At the end of the day, one aspirant will emerge, and that is the same aspirant that will make it again. And by God's grace, whoever emerges from this place will be the next senator for Southern Zone.
While wishing the 5 contestants the best, the governor expressed hope that those who do not emerge victorious will support the winner and work collectively for the success of the party. From Shandam Local Government Area, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Brigadier General Musa Damadami has taken over as the Acting General Officer Commanding 3 Division, Nigerian Army, Jos. He took over from Major General Nuhu Angbazo, who has been redeployed to Abuja as Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Army. Caleb Gochin was at the Maxwell Kobe Cantonment venue of the handing over.
The handing over notes to the new General Officer Commanding 3 Division is to consolidate on the existing programs executed by the former GOC who served the division for about 2 years, and to further strengthen and solidify the security outfit of the division.
Took over from my predecessor, a very, very smooth transition, and today I intend for it to be the same, with my successor. I want to thank the Chief of Army Staff, for the honor to have commanded this division.
I know that you have left a very big shoe for me to fill. But I pray that the Almighty God will see us through and be able to measure up with what you have done so far.
The new Chief of Training, Army Headquarters, Major General Nuhu Angbazo, thereafter inaugurated a medical facility to further meet the health needs of officers and men of the 3 Division. Meanwhile, the Chief of Training and the GOC 3 Division were in Government House, Jos, to appreciate the Governor for his support to the division and to also solicit for similar gesture to the new GOC.
My commitment will remain the same. I'm part of the division. I will always be there. The mess is my own. And all the commitments, I will continue to make new commitments for the improvement of that mess.
The movement is part of the Army Headquarters' recent posting of senior officers to various commands. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NT News.
Very available yet high in price is the status of the new yam as buyers in Jos, the Plateau State capital, decry the hike in price. The report.
In a few hours, this market is expected to be flooded with trucks and vans from various states conveying yam, which sellers here say availability is not a problem. However, the worry for the sellers is the patronage, which has declined greatly in the past weeks.
There is increase in the fuel, so the transporters need to balance the equation, you understand? So by balancing the equation, there should be increase also in the price of the yam. So that reduces the number of the customers surely coming to buy the yam in the market. So that's the only difference from when you compare this season with the previous season.
Yam, which is a staple food in most families, is on a daily increase in price as some buyers compare the present price with that of their last purchase.
The price is very high because this chuku yam mawe is supposed to, they are telling me now, this for now they carry the green 400. This small yam, and before it's not like that.
Last week I came here, I bought it 700, but now that I came, it's 2,000, 3,500.
Because the one where I buy last week, 200. Now they are telling me that it's 400, 350 like that. So everything is very cost now, including the yam. Everything is very cost. Before.
Demolition of illegal structure at the National Stadium Complex, Surulere, Lagos continues as Ministry of Sports promises a befitting edifice. Olumide Guntola has this and more on Sports Update.
As the first phase of the restoration of the National Stadium, Surulere, Lagos gradually comes to a close, the implementation committee has assured Nigerians that never will the facility degenerate to its present state, with the collection of data of occupants and strict adherence to the professional ethics of running all aspects of the facilities.
To ensure that guidelines on business activities, even sporting activities and administrative activities in this facility henceforth is put in place.
In another development, the original African Cup of Nations trophy, which replaced the one first won by Nigeria in 1980, has been declared missing by the Egyptian Football Association. The 1980 edition of the trophy was awarded to Cameroon after their third triumph in Lagos in the year 2000. Reports indicate that the Egyptian FA discovered the disappearance during their preparations to develop the association's headquarters, as well as organizing a show of trophies while celebrating 100 years of the association's establishment. Meanwhile, football fans have been reacting to Barcelona star Lionel Messi's decision to stay back in the club to avoid legal disputes.
Really, it's no surprise to me, because I would more have been surprised if he had made that switch to Man City. You look at the little Argentine maestro, he epitomizes what this Catalan club has achieved in the last 2 decades.
It's for the better. Barca fans want to see him remain at the club at least for one more season, where they can probably give him a proper farewell.
I think it is a very good omen because of his image. He has worked so hard.
On a sad note, a former Super Eagles defender and one-time player of both stationary stores and shooting stars, Ajibade Babalade, died on Friday.
He was a great player during his everything to the game.
According to information gathered, the ace defender had passed on after suffering cardiac arrest. He was aged 48. With Sports Update, Olumide Guntola, NT News.
That's it on Panorama today. Thanks for watching.
People get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source?